Hi everybody, it's Lorraine from pregnancyexercise.co.nz and I'm coming from my Fit Mums studio with you today. And today's event is, though we've not done one of these for a long time, is all about how to know if your diastasis recti has healed. If it's healed to optimum, if it's okay to go back to regular types of exercise, that's everything, you know. Can you feel happy, confident, strong with the function of your core postpartum? So if you have any questions about your diastasis, if we don't answer them, I'm very conscious of time for busy mums as well. So sometimes I can fall into the trap of rushing through things or trying to put too much into these shorter sessions. So please do ask your questions, place them in the comments and I will get back to you. And anything, you know, throw me some comments as well as we go through. All right, so let's just go through a little bit of basic facts about diastasis recti. We should expect to have a diastasis in pregnancy. It's normal, it's natural. Your linea alba is going to stretch as your uterus and baby grows, okay? So around about 99% of us at 39 weeks will have some degree of a diastasis. Now, also your body is so good at healing around about the 7 to 8 week postpartum, your diastasis should also have naturally closed, all right? But around about 40% of women at that mark still have a diastasis, and a diastasis that needs exercise, nutrition, and posture awareness to help close the gap more to optimal function and strength. All right, okay, so please don't get too stressed about having a diastasis through your pregnancy. This is something that's been going through social media, maybe health professions, tend to make mums very, very fearful of diastasis in their pregnancies. But don't worry as well, because there's only 5% of diastasis that can't be healed without surgery postpartum. And most of the women that I see, and I get around about 10 to 15 new mums, brand new mums, that's between the 3 and 10 week mark postnatal, coming through the studio very, very regularly. You know, I see all the new mums gripes, and there's normally only around, so that would go with that 30 to 40% statistic, because there's normally about 3 to 4 in each group that we still need to do some work on. All right, okay, so your linea alba, it's all about your linea alba. Does having a little bit of a stomach, a little bit of a pooch postpartum still mean you have a diastasis? All right, so let's have a look at your abdominals. All right, now, okay, I won't say I've got a diastasis or anything. We'll just go with it, because this is how I want you to assess yourselves as well. Okay, so standing here with you guys, this is how I would normally stand. I'm relaxed. I'm not concentrating on my transverse or pelvic floor, but this is how I'd want to stand with clients, etc., with babies. All right, now, what if I stood like this? Okay, so instead of standing like this, what if I stood like this all day? Would just those two make me think that I've got a diastasis? No. All right, so this is why we do need to be consciously aware of how we're standing all day, because this pushing out, stretching across the abdominal area, stretching if it's still a weakened linea alba, can cause more problems. Okay, so let me go back. I've not pulled anything in. Natural. I don't look pregnant anymore, but again, if I stood like this all day, you know, someone could ask me if I was pregnant there. All right, so do be aware, first and foremost, of your posture. Where are you? Now, if I was to connect with my transverse, There we go. Okay, so you wouldn't do that all the time, as we've gone through in other videos. Okay, relaxed, good posture, hip and ribs stacked, transverse arm ready to lift. Relaxed too much through the day, putting pressure on my back. That doesn't mean you've got a diastasis. All right, so, right, everybody, now, unless you kind of came to me before you were pregnant, and we wanted to have a look at the thickness of your linea alba. Remember, it's the thickness, it's your linea alba which runs down through the middle like this. And if we imagine it, I'm just trying to fold this in half, guys. All right, so if we can try and imagine it like a thick, stretchy piece of band. This connective tissue stretches in all directions, okay? And as you think about it, imagine it's like a balloon blowing up. As your uterus contracts and gets bigger, it starts to stretch so that it gives the impression of the abdominals starting to separate, okay? So going around like this. So it gives that impression of the abdominals starting to separate. So from your linea alba in the middle, right? I didn't test that one out. All right, so everybody's linea alba, which is that thick piece, naturally starts off at between 0.5 to, okay, can we see that? So anybody's natural diastasis can be 0.5 to 1.5 centimeters wide the whole way down. So if you look at that, that could be easily a finger wide, okay? So if you've got a finger width or a little bit more when you're doing your diastasis checks, it doesn't mean you've got a diastasis, all right? So we're imagining this now, running down, so no one knows how thick that is when we start off. If we did, we could know how close you were to optimal when we assess you postpartum. All right, so let's leave that like that, and then let's have a look at what my core is doing when we go onto the floor to test. Okay. Right. So, your normal diastasis test, everybody can do this at the same time now. Place your hand behind your head. Now we're looking for optimal healing. So I'm assuming that you've been learning to activate your pelvic floor and transverse, because what I want you to do is when we come up, I want you to contract your pelvic floor and transverse muscles. Okay, so contract, start at the top and start to feel down your linea alba. 2 to 3 fingers. Start from the very, very top of your rib cage because you're going to note any changes. Now see, I can see. So this is mine. It's around about, it's a finger, all the way down, but it's not a diastasis. Okay, now here is interesting. So this is what I'm going to do. Just feel it a bit there. Okay, so I've noticed any changes. And I'm just going to draw them on the, yeah. Okay, so my abdominals are naturally wider here. They just go a little bit. I'd say it's probably more like 1.5 centimeters there, but the tension is really firm all the way down. The tension doesn't really change. It goes a little bit deeper, but again, the tension of that tissue underneath my fingertips is not changing. So that's where your guide is, that's where your main guide is, to actually know that your diastasis is healed. All right, so it doesn't matter, go from the top, okay, and we're looking for a well done steak tension. All right, so assess your diastasis. If at all you start to go deeper down past what we call shallow, which is nail deep, okay, so when I'm assessing clients, shallow diastasis is nail deep, medium's kind of that first knuckle, and then I class deep as up to this knuckle. All right, so just in terms, so shallow, nail, medium, deep. All right, now, if you've been thinking, oh, my diastasis is 1 or 2 fingers, but that tension is exactly the same, you've not got a diastasis. So maybe we need to look at more core strength, improvements to your posture. Now, if it's 2 fingers, and then all of a sudden you do notice it goes deeper, but kind of stays the same width, then we can and you can build a little bit more cellular repair through there, because what you'll find happens is if you can constantly, let's just go back to that depth and tension, if something's not as strong and tense, it's going to give way a little bit more, so it's got more room to move forward. All right, so it could be causing, if your diastasis is deep and the tension's not there, then it could be causing that frustrating postnatal tummy, what we often assume. Now, sometimes as well, what we can see is, we can see the abdominal separation quite clearly visually. And what you want to do is, again, for mums, because the more educated you are, you know, if you can start to get onto your diastasis healing within the first couple of weeks, activating those core muscles, you're going to start to bring things in quicker. If, unfortunately, you're only finding out about a diastasis 3, 5, 6 years later, we can make improvements, but sometimes visually, what's happened is you get kind of like, and in the photograph what I have used, so if you've had kind of a diastasis like this for a while, okay, and you can actually see it, sometimes too much scar tissue can build up here, which can prevent the tissue, you know, actually closing that gap and returning back to normal. But this tissue can still feel quite firm, so it can still feel like that well done steak, but what's happened is all that scar tissue has just prevented it from coming in together. So that's where long term you could have a diastasis, that what feels like a diastasis and looks like a diastasis and stays around. It tends to be more just that scar tissue. All right, so in terms of healing, let me know what you think. Hopefully some of you will realize that, oh, I've not got a diastasis now, but what can I do about it? Have a look at some of the information. When I run the No More Mummy Tummy Challenges, there's a lot of women always very surprised at how to activate correctly your pelvic floor and transverse, or if you just need to be concentrating on your transverse, postural changes, how to put in activating your core muscles through the day. Remember, we don't want to do them all the time because it's going to put a lot of stress maybe on the pelvic floor and even the diastasis, but we do need to be thinking about our core muscles when we're cleaning, when we're taking things out of the dishwasher, when we're picking our babies up, picking toddlers up, washing baskets, things into the car, etc. You do have to be thinking about your core then, and you do have to think about your posture. So if you want to make some changes I say again to our members, 3 weeks. 3 weeks you focus on it every day, and that creates a habit and becomes more natural for the brain, so then we don't have to keep thinking about things. With your exercises, make sure you don't stay at low level exercises for too long. We always need to do the basics. We go up with them steady as we do through the Birth to Fit Mum program, but then we start to add stress to the core safely so that it can stimulate, more muscles, increasing that strength. So if you don't start to move on and increase the intensity of your exercise, you're also not going to see improvements, and the ways you exercise as well. So movement. All right, so don't just exercise on your back for diastasis exercises. You need to exercise on your back, your side, your front, standing up with cables, etc., because then it becomes more functional. Going back many, many years now, I used to have clients who were super, super strong doing just Pilates exercises constantly on the floor if they'd been to mat exercises, and then they couldn't use their core correctly when we'd come to do, say, standing wood chops or any advanced cable exercises, working with lunges, etc., because they'd only been used to exercising the core in this position and not taking it further on to that next stage. So please make sure you're advancing. Our next actual No More Mummy to Me challenge is not until July, but we have, we've got the Birth to Fit Mum program, we have Super Fit Mum, we've got the Advanced Core, it's just gone Fit Mum Power Core, and you can get a discount on all of those programs, and please share with your friends. Use the coupon code LOCKDOWN for a 30% discount there, and also check out and let your friends know we're going to be running a lot more of these, what we used to call coffee chats, more afternoon chats now, cup of tea chats in the afternoon, so do look out for them on this page. Also, as well, it's been frustrating times. For those of you, if you've been following me on Instagram, my account was hacked almost 4 weeks ago now, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get it back. 45,000 fans, 10 years of work. Very frustrating for me, but I'm just getting together to reset that up as well, and a new name as well. So look out for the new Instagram handle. Any questions? Let me know. I'm sure if you think about something or one of your friends do, just place it on and I will come back and answer. And hopefully I've got lots more blogs to go in depth, and hopefully that's answers some questions for you guys. All right, everybody, take care. Visit the website pregnancyexercise.co.nz. See you, everybody.